Morning, everybody. Welcome to LOCPOD Season 11, Episode 21. This is the Midwest Most Dangerous Podcast, and we're coming to you live from NECA IBEW Power in Indiana Lake County Studios.
Good morning.
Hey, what's up?
What's what? Like you're still celebrating.
No, I promised I was going to wear this shirt.
Oh,
So
like somebody
Lisa.
somebody
Lisa.
said.
She's Lisa is we work every election day together, and she's a poll worker and she's a supporter of mine, and she's a community person, and gave me this the other day. I was Grand Marshal of this parade, and she gave me the shirt the other day and specifically said, I expect to see that on LOCPOD on Tuesday.
Wow.
Yeah.
And here you are,
Ta-da.
fulfilling your promise.
I am fulfilling my promise.
John,
It's a cool shirt, too, by the way.
It is a cool shirt.
Yeah,
they did
I
a
like
nice
green.
job.
I like
I'll
green
tell you,
shirts.
that parade has become bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
I've noticed. It's really
cool.
It's
Yeah.
really cool. So Hammond's, God, John, I forgot to actually post that photo on our note, but there was a really good photo of Tom with his Grand Marshal sash in like the Irish flag colors with a bunch of supporters in front of the float that I put on Twitter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool.
X.
I was surprised when I got there and you were walking. I expected the Tom of pouring bags of candy on kids' heads, and that did not happen at all.
No, he was just marching.
I
You
was
were like
boring.
right down the middle of the street.
Yeah.
I was wiped, man.
I feel for like, excuse me. I feel for like the St. Patrick's Day parade. Dad should be pouring beer for people, just carrying a keg.
Kids' heads.
Yes. Like,
Yeah,
he throws up
Everybody
throws
gather
up candy
around.
and just like throw up a beer.
No, I was wiped on that one. That was the end of a long week. Like last week, for some reason, it was just one of those weeks where everything got scheduled.
It was nuts.
Yeah,
It was.
Like I had
Totally nuts.
7 nights in a row of nighttime engagement. 7 nights, and not just BS either.
No.
A couple days I had morning and afternoon, but like 7 days in a row where I was just going hard. I felt like I was running for U.S. Senate again.
Yeah, I came
Like
in.
same kind of schedule.
I got back from vacation on Wednesday, and I think I had a similar schedule to yours in the evening because we were at a lot of the events together, and I was wiped, and I only had a half a week.
Right.
It was a
Yeah,
crazy
it was
week. It was one of those weeks.
So by the time I came rolling into the parade on Saturday, it was my last event of a long ass week, and I was literally like just cashed.
And you were wearing more formal clothes on, so
Yeah.
you had a jacket
Well,
on and pants.
There was a
and-
misunderstanding too, because like I was a Grand Marshal, and
Yes.
I've never been a Grand Marshal of a parade. So like I was picturing like I'm going to be sitting in a car, like being driven, right? Isn't that like what Grand Marshals totally
I
do?
think so.
Well, I mean, like
Right?
like Richie Daley or like Mayor Daley in the St. Patrick's Day parade in like Chicago walked, but
Really?
yeah, I think
I don't
so.
know what proper protocol is when you're Grand Marshal.
I don't know either.
I
So,
think
like-
you sit on a float and
Right.
you
They
put
wave.
you up.
That's
Like
what
a
I.
way-
That's what I was picturing in my mind. Okay, I was picturing the same thing, John.
All I know is I got there like about 15
I was
minutes before
fucking
Tom,
salty.
and I this is what I hear from somebody. They said, the convertible's transmission's out. They're leaving.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So hold it. By the way, so I call up before the parade, and I'm like, and everybody's like, "What's your plan for the parade? Do we need a float?" And I said, "Well, I'm the Grand Marshal." And they said, "Okay, so you don't want a float?" And I was like, "Well, I'm the fucking Grand Marshal. Like, don't you have like something for me?" And they said, "Yeah, we have a car if you want it." And I'm like, "I have a freaking badass Shelby Mustang. I could drive that, right?" They're like, "No, we have a car for you." I'm like, "Okay, then I'll just be the Grand Marshal in the car you have for me, right?"
And before he got there, John, the car with like a really loud muffler, the transmission went out and
By
the
the
guy
way,
pulled away.
did you see that fucking car?
Yes.
It was a goddamn lowrider.
It was a lowrider.
That's awesome.
Like
There's a
old
lowrider.
school lowrider. Like I'm gonna be like 1980s lowrider. Like I'm like, what the fuck, right? So like I show
It
up.
didn't match the parade.
So I got like a suit on
yeah.
and suit shoes.
Yes, jacket and
I'm gonna
dress
be.
shoes.
So I'm gonna be like driven, like I was being told. Like nobody says bring your cool ass car. I got a freaking badass Shelby. Nobody says that. They're like, we got this covered, right? So I get there, and it's like, oh, hey, the car broke down. You're gonna run then, right? I'm like, fucking, I'm in a fucking suit. You
And it's
like a
long
show.
ass
Nobody,
parade
hey,
route.
any little fucking phone call. Hey, by the way, your goddamn lowrider broke
So
down,
basically,
right?
they handed him a sash and said, "Get walking."
So I stayed in the middle of the road.
They're like, I mean, Kevin could carry you on his shoulders.
By the way, John,
Want to ride piggyback?
I wasn't like, I was being a good, like, but I was also like, just cashed, man.
You were tired.
was
But I
cashed.
thought as the parade kept going, you were
Yeah.
getting a better mood.
I definitely started off a little like pissy. I was like, first off, they didn't have my name anywhere. So I'm like, I'm the fucking invisible
Well, you
Grand
had the
Marshal.
sign that said, you had a sash that said Grand Marshal.
But like, unless you knew me by sight, you would have had no clue I was in that parade. So like, I was like, dude, I could go home right now. Nobody would even notice, right? But
My dad was there, and he was like, Where was the mayor?
That's what I'm
see
saying.
him.
See, I walked right in the
I go,
fucking
he was
middle
the
of
first guy after the cops.
Right.
You know?
Because the Grand Marshal's name doesn't make it into print. Obviously, it's the secret Grand Marshal.
Like this, it would have been Grand Marshal Thomas M. McDermott, Mayor Tom McDermott.
Well, I mean, I would have brought my Shelby. I would have done a lot of things, but I was told, no, we got this. You're the Grand Marshal. Just
and then the
freaking relax.
transmission went out on the lowrider.
Low.
It was. I was like, first of all, I saw the car. I'm thinking to myself, I don't think Tom's going to want to ride.
I would
in that.
not have ridden
I
that.
agree.
Honestly, even if the transmission was banging, I would have been like, no, just walk.
I
It's
was
cool.
just envisioning
I don't
you
know.
walking
Like
up.
honestly, I just didn't think that was.
I'm with you. It didn't
I would have
match
looked
the
ass
parade.
out of place.
It didn't
Like,
match
I don't
the
know.
parade.
I mean, I feel like that's very Hessville.
Well,
But I would have looked stupid in that car. It would have been like putting me with
That's part of the fun.
like it would be like me like with a lawnmower in the lawnmower brigade. It was just totally stupid. Like
you've done that before, though.
I've
so you
mowed
can do
lawns
this.
before, yes, but I'm not at ease with a lawnmower in my hand. You know what I'm saying?
You don't want to do the hydraulic, like jumping down the.
I think it's even more Hessville that the lowrider broke down.
I agree.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
that's
That is
actually a
true.
good story.
And by the way, I do want to say, I know that like Jodi Russell, who is a huge supporter of LOCPOD, huge supporter of yours.
And HC3 parade.
And, yes, and
Right.
absolutely. She put in so much work to
Oh,
get
yeah.
this thing, and it was
Oh,
a
yeah.
great parade.
Oh,
it
yeah.
really was.
By the
It's
way,
getting
like,
better every year.
The
and
cool
this one was
thing
the
about
best
that
one yet.
parade is we worked Kennedy Avenue and we shrunk it down to 2 lanes. When you have a parade going down a 2-lane street like that, it is
So cool.
everybody's like right on top of you,
Yeah.
which is awesome. So
That was cool too.
I definitely,
Got to showcase the work.
next
you guys
year
have
when
been
I'm
doing.
Grand Marshal, we'll do a part 2 Grand Marshal, and we'll put my name on a car or something like
There you
that.
go.
Right? We'll like advertise.
all the glitches always happen, right? Just so happened to you this year.
But, like,
it was
the-
a cool sash, by the way.
Yeah, I kept the sash.
Nice.
It's in my office, and it was a cool sash because it was an Irish flag,
Very
Oh,
cool.
wow.
right? And
So-
then yeah.
Good job to HC3. Congrats on the St. Patrick's
And
Day
awesome
parade.
shirts, and yeah. So if I was a little pissy, I was just like, in my defense, it was
A long week.
oh my god, a long week. It was like, honestly like in 21 years of being mayor, it was one of the longest weeks I've had. It was literally every night. So I mean,
Yeah,
which is
you
great.
were bemoaning over the last episode. You were like, "I'm stressing out that I got to be up till 11 p.m."
Yeah.
Yeah.
that one night.
Yeah, I was up.
Favorite time.
I was. Yeah, I did that.
Yeah.
I actually, because you guys all bailed early from Friendly Sons, and I had literally an hour to kill, and I gave up drinking for Lent.
Mm-hmm.
So I was literally like, "What am I gonna do?" And I went for a little cruise and just listened to music, and I was just
In a
killing
lowrider?
time in my truck. I just like went for like killed time because when I'm by myself in an event, like I'm literally working the whole time if I'm
Sure.
by myself because people are just talking to
Absolutely.
me. So I wanted to hit the road a little, and then I came
Get a
back,
break.
came back and cleaned up. And
Nice.
It was a week, man. It was definitely a week.
Hey, by the way, I just wanted to give a quick update. This is really interesting. Last episode,
Yeah.
we talked about the 35 applications in New Buffalo Township in Michigan for weed stores.
Yeah.
That was going to make New Buffalo Township have more weed stores than Detroit, Michigan.
Right.
And
Which I mean, I'm a big supporter of that.
Sure, but
Yeah,
it did seem a little excessive.
To who?
I mean, I just think it's going to be saturating the market too much. I'm taking it from an
Were you
economic
worried about?
standpoint.
You
not
were
from a
worried. I'm
consumer
worried about the
standpoint.
business people.
You're worried about the consumer standpoint. I was
I
just
am
thinking.
definitely worried about the consumer.
Yeah, I
standpoint.
just thought it was amazing they were going to have that many on the border. But
Well,
anyway,
if they wouldn't, if Indiana,
Fair enough.
supermajority had their
oh
shit
yeah,
together.
like
and
could you
did what-
imagine what would happen to those 35 dispensaries if Indiana passed it next
Yeah,
year?
they'd all go bankrupt.
Bye bye.
Right.
So anyway, this is interesting. In the Times today, Joe Pete was the reporter that reported that last week, and this week the headline is New Buffalo places a dispensary moratorium in place.
Wow. Thank
Yeah.
you, LOCPOD.
That sucks.
They're listening to us in New Buffalo.
Yeah,
Damn.
that sucks.
But so
They do have plenty though. Honestly, God damn.
Well, they said they were looking. They reviewed. I think I want to say they had 35 or 36, and they reviewed 24 of them already. So there are going to be new dispensaries, just not any more dispensaries
as soon as you
over
hit
the
mile marker
35.
one, they took an old hotel and they converted it into herb. That's the one. It's massive. It's the one I said is as big as a grocery store.
I
They
drove
have-
by there Sunday. I could
Yeah.
not believe the size of it.
Did you get
It's
some
an old
edibles?
hotel.
Next time you go
I
there,
didn't
give me
stop.
a freaking call, dude. Like, what the hell?
Well, I didn't.
Like,
I
that's
just
a
wanted
lot.
to check it out. I was doing some LOCPOD research.
Well, then do some LOCPOD research in line there.
Picking
dude.
Yeah.
up some doobies.
Yeah, I could have.
You went there after the episode?
Yeah.
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 What?
Yeah.
Wanted to check
What are you
something
doing out
He
there?
wanted
Sunday.
to
By
the
see
way.
the weed grocery store.
Like, next time you find yourself in Michigan, give a guy a call. All right.
But then what am I going to do? You're going to meet me in Michigan. I'm going to hand it off to you.
Yeah.
You think I'm driving it back to Indiana?
You're going to take some
Are you
edibles.
crazy?
in
Are you crazy? Are you freaking insane?
Are you out of
I'm
your
not driving
mind?
that gummy bear back into Indiana. I was doing a hard
I get in
time.
trouble, man.
Kevin will be in death row. What are you here for? Gummy
Tom's
bears.
out here smoking a joint, and I'm
Yeah,
sitting
every
in
day.
jail.
Freaking death
Yeah,
row.
man. I mean, Kevin, what is it? I don't know what he thought he was doing. He's
Yeah.
breaking the law. I've said it a million times on LOCPOD.
I told him to put it in his jail wallet. He didn't put it there.
His jail wallet.
Yeah.
Prison wallet.
Yeah.
Prison wallet. Sorry, Lindsay.
Get
That's
it
a
right.
John Cantrell. It's an old episode.
Oh,
Yeah.
boy.
For those of you that are unaware, that's like season 3, episode 12.
We could search it.
Yeah, jail wallet.
Jail wallet.
Yeah, it's your butt.
If you're a dude.
I didn't want you to
It's
have to
your
go back and find that episode.
That's
so
nice.
It's your butt.
Why isn't it for a girl, Linz?
butt. It's not. We've got other pockets.
Yeah.
Okay.
All
We have
right.
other pockets.
All right.
Whoa.
That's good.
Thanks,
We
Linz.
have other pockets.
I asked the question. I get the
You got
answer.
the answer.
Thank you.
Okay, so Southwest Michigan is not going to be the weed mecca that we had hoped. It'll just be
Damn.
No, I think it is. It's just not going to be additional weed mecca.
It's
So
not,
this is
not
moratorium on-
Amsterdam level.
No, they stopped it at the 35 they're getting,
Okay,
but
all right.
no more than.
I like a good 35.
weed store.
Yeah.
You can take a tour.
In
It's
a
like one-
population of 2,500
Could do
people.
a weed
Yeah.
store bar crawl.
Yeah,
Yes.
that would be
A weed crawl.
I like the way Lindsay's
Gummy
thinking.
crawl.
Yeah, they're not too close to each other. You'd have
Everyone's
to-
just asleep at the end.
Yeah, right. We've been so we covered the weed update. We have updates. It's because we start so many stories. It's hard to keep you guys. We have to keep you updated because these stories aren't static.
Everyone
They're dynamic.
keeps stealing all of our ideas.
Things are happening.
Yeah. Well, we've been covering Kate Middleton. And,
Yes,
know.
you have.
And then once it hits LOCPOD airwaves, of course, the royal family goes into a panic because they're like, LOCPOD is on it now. We're fucked.
So
They're like
yeah,
Belgium's most their top podcast.
you know what?
is
It's all those
wearing it.
Belgians listening, Lance.
Yeah.
You're right.
And they're like, "Where's Kate?"
And they saw what we did to the mayor of Dalton, and they want none of that in the royal family.
They don't want any of this heat.
Well,
Right.
next thing you know,
They don't want
they're
any of this heat. Thank you, Lindsay.
They're-
Period.
dropping videos of her and stuff, you know? This
Yeah, I
is a
saw
big
this
update.
yesterday actually, and I was like, "Oh man, I got to talk about the fact that Princess Kate is out and about and looks pretty good." So here she is.
I don't know.
here
Is she?
I thought she looked great.
Is she
they
truly
come.
out and about?
I don't know.
They're like in a
How could
Windsor
you-
farm
How
market
could you verify the date on this? That
because
could've
it
been
was
months
Sunday.
ago. That could have been months ago.
No, no.
How do you know it was Sunday?
Is that even her?
Yes.
That is definitely her.
Really?
They zoomed
She's
in.
freaking
I know
smoke
that
show, isn't
face. She's so pretty.
Yeah, she's a smoke show.
I think she's great.
Yeah.
She looks
And
a
there
lot
she
like
is.
Marissa.
And Nikki, I think she looks like
Totally.
Nikki Haley.
yeah.
But there she is. She looks fine. She's out with her husband.
I
Princess
don't see
William-
any
Prince
sign
William.
of abdominal surgery. What the?
she's
wearing
recovering.
leggings, and
What's that?
That happened a while ago.
No, this is Sunday.
Right.
No, the abdominal surgery.
Oh,
happened a
January,
while
yeah.
ago.
Right.
Early January.
I don't think
it's
that's her.
March.
Oh God,
I think it's her.
It's absolutely. I don't think
look
it's
anything
him.
like her.
This was taken in.
Oh! You don't think that's
This
him?
is in Florida,
I don't
John.
think that's him.
Where's William?
I don't think this is in England.
yeah.
think
They got some body double with.
Yeah.
Said, Kate, would you walk with
It's
this
just
William
some college
lookalike?
dude and his girlfriend walking around.
Can we all agree though that this was totally planted? Even
Yes.
probably the person in
course.
the car
Yes.
filming.
Sure.
was-
Of
They
course.
don't go to
The person in the
farmer's
car
market.
filming.
Yeah.
First off, okay, how about this? Look in the background there. Okay, you see the two people sitting there having lunch? Mm-hmm. The goddamn future king and princess walking by, and they have no clue they're there.
Right.
Right?
No, those are security personnel.
No, I think this was totally set up, like John said. And, those people don't even know they're there.
The
Because if you
royalty
knew...
doesn't just walk into a farmer's market and start buying some stuff.
What I'm saying, Lindsay, is
without causing
if
a
those two
frenzy.
people sitting there knew the king and queen were behind them, wouldn't they be, staring at them?
Absolutely.
But they're, totally, they have no idea they're even there.
It's like a movie set.
Right.
But you know what? There they are. And they probably had security. I think they look great. I think Kate looks great. I think this thing's all overblown. It's a tabloids in Britain.
Really?
And they're, yeah.
I
Well-
was thinking, what did they have to give her? What concessions did they make for her to show up and do this? Because they're getting
There's
divorced.
probably some of that going on.
She's
Yeah.
fine.
For
They're
I don't
not
know.
getting
I
divorced.
feel like the whole craziness around where's Kate has kind of settled down after this came out.
Yeah, it
But
definitely did.
People, I mean, they made an announcement and they're on an embargo right now. The press that they know something but they can't report on it,
What?
and they're making this
That's my girl.
massive announcement today.
That's my girl.
Today?
I don't believe it.
What
See, I
could
heard
it
the same
be?
thing.
No,
It's
What
all,
is it?
all the press have been gathering outside of
Castle?
Buckingham Palace
Yeah.
for 3 days.
And
And they are being told to hold on news for something,
Right.
and people have given interviews, and they're like, "We've been told something, we're not allowed to talk about."
and
it,
if
but
they
they're
do
giving
talk
an
about
official,
it, they're
they
never
get
going to be able to talk to the
Oh,
royal family
blackballed
again.
by
Right.
the palace.
They did the same
forever.
thing when the Queen died. They do that kind of stuff for major announcements.
They have power. The royal family
And
does.
absolutely, but like American media could do whatever they want,
Sure.
but you're not getting the inside scoop in America
No.
either.
No, and all these British, the BBC, all the British tabloids and everything, they don't want to be, blackballed by the
Right.
palace because that's
Exactly.
where like major news comes from.
What's
So
the announcement going to be, do you think?
I think that my personal opinion is that King Charles is going to be stepping down because of his illness, and these two are going to be
King and Queen.
King and Queen.
Whoa.
I think that's
Okay.
what's going
Well,
on.
I guess there goes the divorce.
No,
Yeah.
I think
I didn't think a divorce was imminent.
I never
Kate
did
wants to
either.
be queen.
I'm staying on the divorce train.
John and Tom on this
she
side of the
would
table.
not give up. She's so close to the finish line. She's been working for
Lance,
this
you're
forever.
assuming that it's her choice. I think there's something to the Rose
forcing her,
Hanlon.
No, there's not.
Okay, I'm just telling you. I think there's something to the Rose Hanlon
Lady-
affair.
Lady
She's
Hanbury,
come out
you mean?
recently
Yeah.
saying that there's like nothing. That
Yeah,
has,
let's talk about this.
not-
Really, I didn't realize when you're having an affair with somebody that the other person usually comes out and confirms it.
Okay.
You're right.
Actually,
Like,
yes.
Yeah, I'm totally
Well,
having a
if they're
scandalous
gonna
affair
make
with
her
the
the
I've
king.
been
queen.
screwing that guy for 10 years.
Dude, we do the nasty. Me and the king, right?
She would just
So-
simply say no comment if they're planning on making her
or
queen
lie,
over Kate.
or lie.
Sarah-
Lying, see, because that can cause like a really bad whiplash later on down.
You know
the
what
road.
else could cause a really bad whiplash? If you say yes, I've been fucking the king, that causes a really bad whiplash.
you know what
Actually,
does-
even worse, I would think.
But you know what does
Can we
nothing?
make that the
That's
title?
the title.
Yes, I've been fucking the
But
king.
you know what
Yes,
does
I've been
nothing is saying no comment.
Sarah
my
Rose
point.
Yes, I've
Hanbury,
been fucking the king.
a.k.a. Lady Rose Hanbury, a.k.a. Marchioness of Chumley, broke her silence.
I love that. The Marchioness
Marchioness
of
of
Chumley.
Chumley.
They have great names.
I know, it's awesome.
I know.
Uh,
I'm the
broke her
Marchioness of
silence on
Chumley.
the matter.
Oh, shit, my bad.
through a statement made by her lawyer. The rumors are completely false, Lady Rose's legal team said.
Oh,
Per
God, drop
Business
it.
Insider.
The legal team got involved.
The outlet noted that Kensington Palace declined to comment on the speculation. Her statement comes amid incessant social media rumors and tabloid rumors over her relationship with William and the public speculation over Princess Kate's health and whereabouts. In 2019, tabloids reported that William had an extramarital relationship with Rose, whose family has maintained a long-term connection to the British royal family. So she is denying everything.
So, like, imagine
completely
this.
false.
Let's imagine that she's telling the truth and there's nothing going
Yeah.
on. Like, can you
I
imagine?
believe her.
Okay. Then let's just say, that she's telling the truth and Kevin's right about the world. And okay. All right. Can you
Never
imagine
right
how
about
much
the
that would
world.
suck to be that family?
Yeah.
Like, first off, you're the king and the queen. You're going to have this shit, right?
Right.
But you're just some random Marchioness of Chumley.
I mean, there's not a lot of those.
The Marchioness of Chumley.
like a
and they're
random
like,
of-
yeah, you're fucking the king. And it's like viral on the internet. And your
She's
husband's
like, I
like,
wish.
yeah, right. Like, but her husband's like,
It depends on
that's
what
my
the
wife.
what's the opposite of a Marchioness. I don't know what the
Marchioness of Chumley.
Probably the Martian.
the Martian of Chumley.
The Martian of Chumley.
Yeah.
Well, I know that he is like significantly older than her too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which
Good
is
job.
crazy,
Good job for
so-
him.
It would be
Wow.
weird to drop
I
this
heard.
video.
I heard that he has a boyfriend in France.
Look at this,
Really?
Lindsay.
What the
I
What
missed
rabbit
that one.
hole are
I'm
you
jumping-
down?
I'm jumping in, Linz.
Back
Yeah.
to the pegging.
So the Marchioness's husband, it's a PR relationship as they do often in the royal family.
Really?
But he's significantly older and he has a boyfriend.
It doesn't mean because
Lindsay.
he's older that he's got a. That's a.
No, that's not why.
There's older and younger women
There have
couples.
been multiple rumors that have been spread all over the place that had multiple boyfriends throughout his life.
Oh, yeah.
He's the
So-
Marquis of Chumley.
Marquis.
Seventh,
there's rumors about
seventh
Kevin and I. It
Marquis,
doesn't
or
mean
maybe
it's
it's
true.
Marquess. I don't
think
know.
it's
how you say
definitely
that.
true
Marquis, I
because
There's
I've started
multiple
all
rumors
of
about
those
Kevin and I, and none of them are true.
And no one's known
started
as the
those
Marchioness of
rumors,
Chumley
and they are
here.
definitely true. I'm here to say that they are definitely true. They're in love.
So
Yeah.
Jill
Yeah.
is in chat,
Yeah.
Hi, Jill.
and here's a fun
She's
fact.
a very Anglophile.
Yeah.
Yes.
So Jill says Rose's grandmother was a bridesmaid for Queen Elizabeth.
Fact.
Whoa.
They definitely had an affair.
They're
there
just
now.
like old family friends.
Well, maybe they had a crush on each other growing
Back in the
up.
day, I
No.
agree. That's
I
what
think
it was,
they
like
did
a
the
high
nasty.
school crush.
I think they did the nasty.
I don't.
I do.
I'm
Nope.
sure they probably when they were teenagers or something.
Probably
they
back
grew
before
up
he-
together.
Probably back before he went bald.
Before Kate.
Yeah.
Oh, we got to watch the most recent season of The Crown, and then we can. Find
There
out.
you go. Speaking of
Yeah.
like all the English news we've had.
Yeah.
This season of The Crown is going to be fantastic.
There you go. Here it
Can't
comes.
Yeah, no kidding.
I'm not caught up right now. I'm
I
on
thought The
season
Crown was
3
over,
or 4. I did too,
Well,
by the
it's
way.
over because it's up to date,
They're like,
but now
because
new
of a-
things are happening.
they're
They're
like,
we got to
because-
get started.
Because the royal family is so dramatic, we decided
Exciting.
to do one more season of.
They'll do it in like 20 years. They'll wait for everything to play out. Anyway, sorry, Kevin.
That's
know where
okay.
Kevin
we,
was going.
We had mailbag. We have a
did.
mailbag. We haven't had mailbag in a while. John, lick those lips and let's hear it.
Mailbag.
So
Thank you.
weird.
That was great. It was I thought it was right
okay.
on.
It wasn't.
Honestly, John, would
B
you tape
minus.
record that so Kevin could play it in his bedroom? He gets excited.
Jesus
Lick
Christ.
It'll be
Those
foreplay. It'll be foreplay. He'll be like, hold on, Jana.
Mailbag.
Jana's like, oh, I love John's voice.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, can you call John on the phone?
Yeah, like, why don't we just make it easier and have John
Yeah,
just
just
come in
come
here
over.
and just
Oh, this took a turn.
okay.
I do not like pegging.
All right, so we
Jesus Christ.
rip on
guys,
a lot of
what
people on this show.
happened?
We rip on a lot of people on this show. Okay.
But there's one person we haven't ripped on.
No, we don't rip on our audience.
We
okay, we don't. Like, I
Agreed.
want to make that clear.
Well,
Like,
the only time I can think of that happening is when Phil
okay.
ripped on Laura and didn't give her the card.
The gift card. Yeah.
And Laura,
So
we beat him up
apologies,
for you.
Laura, and we've beaten him senseless for
We
you.
took him out back and we attached him to the back of our car and we drove around the parking lot.
Because we appreciate all our listeners.
okay,
Yes,
we do.
so this is
Absolutely.
an apology segment because one of our listeners, who's from England,
Yeah,
We're
but
not
I
gonna
didn't
get
even
in-
know.
I didn't
English
either.
immigrant.
I didn't either.
English immigrant.
For the record,
I think he called himself an English immigrant.
Is a frequent chat person felt horribly offended about our show when Matt Reardon was on.
And I was not here. Let me just make that
So
very
Matt,
clear.
Matt, I know you're listening. We're doing PR right now from that show. So as we said, that
no, we're doing damage control from that show.
Mr. Reardon offended women from Alabama, all English women. It's like a lot of English men as well. He was on a
I think
tear.
we should we should probably be careful next time we invite him.
Oh, stop. It's LOCPOD. We're the Midwest Most Dangerous
Yeah,
podcast,
that's right.
remember?
This
For a
one
reason.
just got.
MCR partners.
Yeah.
Okay, so one of our callers, one of our followers wrote off the show after that.
Well,
He's like, I'm done.
I read
I'm
that.
out.
I was like, what did you guys do while I was gone?
So I'm not going to say this person's name, okay? Because he's a chatter, and we've contacted this person to let him know that his fears and his
Please come
theory,
back.
his
Please come
theory is
back.
completely not true.
Yeah.
But I'm going to
Very
read this, and
contrite.
then we'll talk about it, okay? So I'm just going to read it, and then we'll talk about it after if you guys don't mind. Perhaps this English immigrant should have taken the money he donated every single month to your federal seat. Could have been better spent on whitening my teeth. Haha, trust me, I'm not that thin-skinned. However, the dynamic between the three of you was interesting. Matt's disparaging remarks, the quick look at John, then Mayor checking the comments after more remarks. Scary realization if I'm 100% honest. Take the piss out of Brits all you like, man, but I saw the real intent, and it was something. Okay, hold on. Next page.
All right, page 2.
All right. Sure, I poked John and even poked the mayor on ageism and clear political reset, sending him more central right, which I get, by the way, but I really don't ever make it personal. Really disappointed, guys, as I thoroughly enjoyed the twice weekly banter, but felt a very specific attack, and it wasn't even clever humor, in my opinion.
Probably that's true.
I know this isn't an airport, and I don't need to announce my departure, but you guys have way more influence and power than me, and there is no way I'm pissing off the leadership of an entire city, which I've clearly done. So I'll just politely disappear and apologize for any offense I might have caused. And I'm not typically a shrinking violet, but that was genuinely scary to know actual planning went into that.
Whoa.
Good luck.
That's deep, man.
I don't remember what we said, but I am sorry.
it was when Matt said like the entire all English people are ugly, essentially.
Oh,
Jesus Christ.
good Lord.
And I remember that moment.
Kate Middleton is not ugly.
Whatever, man. It is. First off, I want to make a couple things clear about this person's allegations. I appreciate the donations to my Senate campaign. Okay, very much. Okay, and then this mentions that Matt made a remark, and then I made a quick look at Vez, and then I checked the comments.
No, I think Matt looked at me.
Oh,
what he was
okay.
saying, and
And
then
then
you
check.
looked at comments.
Didn't happen. I'm not sure what he's talking about. Didn't
Not
happen.
planned.
Tom doesn't look at comments.
I have never read the comments
He's
during
a-
a show ever. Not even.
That's true.
Not even a single episode. I don't look at the comments because I think it knocks you off your game.
Like Tom's looking at his notes, and on his phone he
I
looks
look
at
at
the
the number.
feed. And he looks at the
I look
feed.
at the number of people watching the show, not at anything anybody's saying. I look at the number.
Complains about
Yeah.
if it's too low.
Right.
I
Like right
look-
now we have a decent number.
I
So-
have the comments on my screen, and I look at them, but Tom looks at his notes.
Right. So I don't know what this person's talking about. I don't ever look at the comments during the show. We never attacked anybody in our audience that I can remember outside of maybe screwing with Lauren or Phil or whatever. But like, if I don't know you, which I don't know this person very well at all,
Don't even know he's English immigrant.
Yeah, that was
Didn't
news to
even
me.
know- yeah.
didn't know he was an English immigrant, didn't, you know.
And this is a guy we really enjoy in chat. So come
I
back.
wholeheartedly agree. Like I may disagree with him, the stuff he puts in chat,
Mm-hmm.
because it's not, it's just politically what I agree with. But come on, I mean, to say this was planned to offend him some
Well,
way, no way.
I agree.
No way.
But so we wanted to cover it on the show because obviously we do have repercussions after shows.
And we appreciate our chat. We appreciate our fans. We appreciate LOCPODers. So please
Right.
come back.
But like we do have repercussions sometimes, and we had repercussions after that show, and we want to address it directly with one of our fans that we are sorry that you were offended. We did not intend to offend you, and we certainly weren't directing anything towards you. The people we talk about on LOCPOD are in the news.
Yeah.
That's how we roll. We're not going to be like, hey, what's that, Linz?
Period.
Period. Yeah.
Yeah.
People we talk about are in the news. Like Mayor Tiffany, we picking on her? Yes, she's in the news.
She was in the
right?
news.
Well, Kate Middleton, in the news,
I
right?
think she's available for picking on if we need to, even though I
Yeah.
would never pick
We
on
should
Kate
invite
Middleton.
her to the LOCPOD.
I love Kate Middleton.
This is all Matt Reardon's fault.
I
mean,
agree.
When it
I'm
boils
with you,
down
man.
to it.
We should
Thank you,
bring
Matt.
him in.
Thank you.
MCR Partners
bring
is
him
not
on.
getting any English business.
300 episodes, our viewers have been fine, and then you come on and you offend them.
MCR Partners.
Speaking of,
Contact Matt we'll get to that in a little bit. All right, we're going to do some ads. Come back. We got some local politics to talk about, statewide
Statewide
story.
politics
As well. So
This is a cool story. It's a story about not burning bridges, right?
agree.
Like when you burn a bridge, sometimes you want to cross that bridge again, and it's freaking
And you're
burnt,
like,
you know?
damn, I burnt that bridge.
I burnt that
Why the
bridge.
F
the
did I burn that
foundation
bridge?
is shaky. And
Yeah.
unsafe.
Yeah. This is a perfect example of don't burn bridges.
It's that, and I think it's also an example of sometimes revenge is a dish best served cold.
I like the way you think.
Yeah.
I like hot
So,
revenge personally.
Stick around for
Hot.
a statewide Indiana Democratic political story.
And then
So,
we have in our last segment, we have a guest coming in today.
yeah, Jodi
Oh,
Krangle's
yeah.
coming on, and she is a kind of like an audio voice expert. So we're going to have her
Like a
on
voiceover
straight
actress?
from
She's gonna
Ontario,
show us
Canada.
how to be better at our job.
Okay,
voiceover, yeah.
You know what I want to ask her also? As a Canadian, does she follow the royal
Oh, yeah,
family a
good
lot?
call.
All right, we're going to get into that.
All right, let's go ahead. Powering Indiana, Lake County. IBEW Local 697 and NECA proudly bring you Powering Indiana, Lake County. With over a century of experience, they've been safely wiring the region. From powering corporations along the lakefront to lighting up homes across Lake County, Powering Indiana, Lake County is your trusted source for electrical professionals. Join them as they continue to light the way for Northwest Indiana. Visit Powering Indiana, Lake County at poweringindiana.org.
All right, Rogers Roofing. When you demand nothing but the best for your home and family, trust the industry leader, Rogers Roofing. For over 54 years, they've been transforming homes in Northwest Indiana and Chicagoland. Their commitment to quality shines through their roofing, siding, gutters, and windows, all backed by the most comprehensive warranties in the business. Visit their website at rogersroofing.com or call 219-933-9145 to schedule your free consultation. That's rogersroofing.com or 219-933-9145. At Rogers Roofing, we expect nothing less than excellence every time.
Misprint Printing. Elevate your brand with Misprint, the premier printing and sign solution to Chicagoland and Northwest Indiana. With a 30-year legacy of excellence, their experienced team, led by Rick Baltensberger, combines innovation and technology to deliver top-quality signs and printing and metal business cards, always on time,
Always
within
scares
budget. That was a great hop, by the way. Visit them at misprintusa.com to bring your vision to life today. Misprint, your partner for creating impactful visual solutions.
It's time to experience Michelob Ultra with only 95 calories, 2.6 carbs, and a 4.2 ABV. The perfect way to start 2024 and keep those resolutions in check. Doesn't matter if you're kicking back after a workout, hitting a pickup game at the park, or heading out for a day on the slopes. Be sure to enjoy a superior light beer that's only worth it if you enjoy it. Michelob Ultra is brewed to be a complement to your healthy lifestyle. So head over to the Cowbrew or Michelob Ultra websites and their social media pages for details on this great family of beers, and enjoy the Ultra lifestyle with beers, and cheers responsibly.
Prestimer Insurance Co. For decades, the Ron J. Prestimer Insurance Agency has been your trusted neighbor right on Indianapolis Boulevard, serving all your insurance needs. Their wide range of insurance products and services, including auto, home, business, and life insurance, has helped over thousands of individuals and businesses throughout the Chicagoland and the Midwest. Call Ron or Ronnie today at 219-844-0103. They're here to protect what matters most to you.
Thank you to our sponsors,
including our studio sponsor, Power in Indiana, Lake County.
All right, so one of the busy things I had on Saturday, I had two events. I had a morning and an afternoon. The morning event I had that day was the Big Dem Breakfast. It's something that we started locally here that is a free breakfast. It's the whole purpose is to get Democrats together for free.
Party building.
Eat breakfast, listen to some speeches, and just get together and it's not a long thing. It's an hour and a half, 2 hours long max.
Yeah,
right?
Hour and a half.
Just a quick little hit. And so what Kevin and I are trying to do is line up like a location that doesn't cost the party money, which we did, Andorra Banquet Hall, and I appreciate them for the donation. That was very nice of them. We try to line up a group that's going to pay for breakfast so that the breakfast is free, and we did that with Locke Mueller Group and Councilwoman Amy Blaker for sponsoring it through Locke Mueller Group. So then we get good speakers, and this week we got a panel of mayors. So we had our chairman, Jim Weezer, speak to a panel of mayors from Lake Station. We had Bill Carroll, the mayor, who's LOCPODer also. He's been on a few times on LOCPOD. We had Josh Huddleston. Josh has been on LOCPOD, right?
Josh has.
Yeah, recently. We had Josh, Mayor
when
Hobart.
he was a candidate.
Pete Land, Mayor of Crown Point, never been on LOCPOD. We got to fix that. He's a great mayor, a former police chief. And then from the city of Whiting, a friend of mine, all of them are friends of mine, but Mayor of Whiting, Mayor Steve Spebar. I'm not sure he's been on LOCPOD either, but
no.
It was a great panel. It was a great turnout, a couple hundred people.
Yeah, John's got some photos he's going to put up of the crowd. Really good crowd, really nice time. Starts at 8:30 in the morning, so everybody has to get up early and get over there.
Yeah.
And it's really cool, and I think that's one of the things that, and you mentioned this, but I'm going to mention it for you, I guess, is that one of the things that you always say you saw around the state was a really cool way that other county parties are party building and getting people involved in the party, getting people fired up. And this is one of those things, I'll tell you, and you and I were sitting at the same table with Judge Marissa, and we were kind of commenting on how cool this was to hear how, I think you said it, you're like, man, they asked them a question, they were all on top of it just like that. Like it's a question about the environment or climate change or whatever, and they were on top of it. And I thought that was really cool, and I think it's good for, we live in our silos a lot of times, or even as Democrats we do, and we think, oh, I only know about, or I know everything, or I know everything about this issue. And it was really cool just to see, even within our county, 4 different mayors talk about things and hear them talk about their communities. Because, we're so, we get kind of bogged down in Hammond stuff, right? As we should. It was really cool to hear about, like, what's happening in Lake Station or what's happening in Crown Point. It was cool.
Cool. So anyway, I thought it turned out to be a great event also. But it's interesting because, I don't want to say this is the party event, okay? Lake County Democrats.
Yeah.
Chairman Jim Weezer, it's his event, but it was my idea, and Chairman Weezer is being big enough to allow me to run with this idea, and he's obviously the chairman, so he's hosting the events and all that, but Kevin and I are sort of doing a lot of the homework behind the scenes. True story.
Yeah, fun.
In fact, the first one, I financed the whole thing in the first one. That was $4,000 or $5,000 actually, the first one. And I've been doing the direct mails to notify people of it. So I've taken financial responsibility upon myself as a candidate to help Jim party build. And I think it's a good way for me to help.
I love it. because, you're probably, if not you've got one of the most, biggest coffers from a candidate standpoint. And it's nice for you to kind of share some of that
Frank
with the party.
and Frank and I both.
For sure.
Right.
And so it's cool that you kind of had this idea and said like, hey, I'm going to help.
Right. So we've been working hard on it. So I think generally everybody knows it's sort of our thing. Kevin and I are working on it that Jim's sponsored, and Jim is more than happy to host. And so the only reason I say that is I'm not trying to take responsibility, but it's tasteless when people that hate me show up to these events. I think it's tasteless. Like, I've seen a couple people that just straight hate me at the last event.
At the first event, we brought up what happened.
And
Somebody
it's interesting. It like
called
they're
you
over
a
there-
fascist, came over and ate a free breakfast.
Right. She thinks I'm a fascist, and she's out to get free eggs and bacon from me. You know, we're fascists, but I like your eggs.
Thanks
right?
for the free breakfast. I'll have seconds.
Yeah. So it's funny when you see people that hate me so much that are showing up to events that we're hosting, but whatever. We're a nice host. We're not going to confront these
That's
people.
right. We have a big tent. Come on in.
Big tent.
Big tent.
The big tent is being tested, though, because I had another person show up this meeting.
Really?
Yeah, this is a good one, too. It's going to piss some people off. So listen closely.
Oh boy.
Yeah,
I wish we had like some story. Like here comes a story
Yeah.
from. You know,
well, this is
from
a
Tom
U.S. Senate
McDermott.
candidate.
Yeah.
It's a Democratic Party U.S. Senate candidate in Indiana. So I'm not supposed to do what I'm about to do,
Oh boy.
but I'm going to do it anyway.
It's appropriate, I think. 'cause
I'm going in fully aware that I'm not supposed to do what I'm about to do. I'm going in full.
Listen up, Hoosier
So
Democrats.
So this is I'm talking about a lady named Dr. Valerie McCray. She was running for U.S. Senate in the state of Indiana. Okay, John, I don't know if you remember this.
I do.
Okay, Lindsay, I don't know if you remember this, but I'm going to tell a little story here. Okay, so when we were running for U.S. Senate, one of the requirements in Indiana is a painful requirement. It's a requirement, Kevin. you
Love
need
it
to
or
get-
hate it, right?
Love it or hate it, but what it does is it limits the number of people that could run, because to run for statewide office in Indiana, attorney general, no, I don't know if you have
No,
to do it.
that's a
AG.
party.
You do it for governor,
And for
senator.
Senate.
Okay.
And
You have-
president.
and president, right. Those three. You have to get 500 signatures in each congressional district certified.
Registered voters, right? hmm Yeah.
That sounds like, and it needs to be certified,
By the clerks of each county.
which is extremely
Daunting.
time-consuming.
Time
Extremely.
consuming, daunting. It occurs during the winter generally.
Right, unless you get started early, which we didn't. We started in like August, which is like, you think,
I'm going to call it October, November.
okay, but you have until what, January?
February.
Okay.
Early February.
Right.
But that's
So-
when they got to get certified
But
by then.
you think when you start this
Like,
process,
500
I'm going to
signatures?
knock this off in 3
Easy,
weeks.
man.
Right? We were there in the dead of winter, pounding on doors to try to get signatures.
Thank you, everyone who helped, by the
Right.
way. It was a massive, massive effort. And John, you were there. Lindsay was
Still
there.
Everybody
can't
was
feel my
there.
right ear.
Everybody was there. It took us. It was painful.
Yes.
Our whole campaign was focused. I could have been doing a lot of things. I could have been raising money. Instead, we wanted to qualify for the ballot the right way. Okay, we didn't want to be put there by the state central committee, which is what happens if you don't get the signatures. So we poured all of our resources into getting 500 signatures in each congressional district, like the law says.
And you think to yourself, oh, well, Lake County's really, urban. There's all kinds of cities. Sure, Lake County was not hard. Indianapolis was not overly difficult. You try going to like rural Indiana,
Richmond.
where a congressional district
Right.
is like, 17 counties,
Right.
and they all have like
Different county
30,000
courthouses.
people total in each county.
Right. That was
It is like, holy cow, where are
Right.
we going? And by the way, some of these are so heavily Republican
yeah.
that it
There's not
makes
many
it even
Democrats.
harder.
There's
yeah.
no- you need to find.
And you don't have to
500
be
Democrats.
registered as there's no such thing as being registered as a Democrat in Indiana, but you still have to find people that are like, oh, what's he running
I'll
for?
sign it.
Oh, he's a Democrat? Nah, I'm good. I'm going to vote Republican.
Right.
So
So that took us a while. All right. And when I was running in my primary now, this is before I was even on the ballot against Todd Young. When I was in the primary, I had two other women running also at the same
Yeah.
time. One was named Hanifa Khalik.
who had
She's
been
a-
running, by the way, for like, she had
Yeah.
announced her candidacy like
Way
2.5 years
Right.
earlier.
So she was running African American woman,
Mm-hmm.
and then another African American woman, Dr. Valerie McCray.
Yep.
Both were running simultaneous to me. We were running against each other. We were all trying to get signatures.
Mm-hmm.
We were all doing, and it was very like cordial primary. There was no barbs. There was no attacking each other. We were just campaigning for the same office, but weren't attacking each other.
And just time-wise, so our listeners who may not be from Indiana understand, the the signatures are due in February
Right.
of 22. The primary is the first Tuesday in May of 22. So like when Tom's saying like, oh, was it, it was a very cordial primary, we're talking like events in
Months
like
and-
October,
right.
November, December, January.
Right.
Yeah.
So we would see each other in
Yeah.
public, though. We'd shake hands. We'd be nice to each other. Our staffs knew each other. We'd see each other a lot.
Sure.
We were going to the same things, right?
All the time.
So
Union
I'd see
halls.
Hanifa, and I'd mention her in my speeches, and I'd be nice to her.
Sure.
She was being nice to me. Dr. McCray didn't know as well as Hanifa, but we were like all cordial to each other. We were all trying to get signatures, and we were all sort of tracking each other to see who was going to make it and who wasn't. I was determined as a candidate we were going to do it the right way. We weren't going to get, because I was already in my head picturing if we didn't get the signatures and the state central committee chose us over 2 African-American women, how controversial that would be.
Doesn't look good. It's not a good look.
It would have been controversial, and I wanted to go in clean. I wanted to get it the right way.
You put the pressure then on the state central committee instead of just doing your job and getting the signatures, which are required.
Okay, so we did it. We spent every resource we could, time-wise, money-wise, like hotel stays in southern Indiana, people on my campaign
hiring
team,
canvassers,
driving
in rural areas.
all over the state. Like we had tens of thousands of miles we were putting on our cars, going all over the state of Indiana to get
Jill,
these signatures.
Smitty, I mean, these people drove around to county clerks.
It's hard to even name a name.
You're right. I shouldn't name. I'm just
because
thinking
there's
of people.
literally hundreds and hundreds of people that helped us. So like, I don't want to even name a name because there's so many people. But everybody, my family was involved. Everybody.
Yes.
So like,
I remember Tommy knocking on doors in Bloomington.
Okay, so we got our signatures. We turned them in. We got certified in early February.
It was awesome.
Kevin and I high-fived.
Yeah.
We were like, we made it through an ordeal. And I learned something on this date. I learned that entire effort we went through was unnecessary because we've qualified legally to file. And then also Hanifa Khalik filed for U.S. Senate. And then right after that, Dr. Valerie McCray filed, but they didn't have the signatures. And I'm like, wait.
And McCray wasn't even close.
I agree. Both of them were. Hanifa was fairly
much
close, but
closer
she didn't
than
get
McCray.
It. But
no,
they didn't
make it.
So like, I'm like, how are they allowed to file against me when they don't meet the legal requirement? And I did.
Mm-hmm.
I actually got the signatures, and then I have 2 people that couldn't do what I did, and they're also filing. And everybody's like, yeah, that's a quirk in Indiana law. That sucks.
You can file, but you got to get challenged.
You have to challenge them, Mayor. And I'm like, I have to challenge 2 African-American women and knock them off the ballot, or else they're allowed to run, even though they didn't get the requirements.
And there were some newspaper articles kind of leading up to the challenge deadline saying like, oh, well, you know, it looks like as far as what it looks like Mayor McDermott's turned in enough signatures. Doesn't look like Valerie McCray or Hanifa Khalik have turned in enough.
Right. So I'm not going to, honestly, we devoted so much resource, time, and effort into collecting those signatures. I was like, there's no way in hell we're not going to challenge these 2. There's no way in hell. I'm not going to waste money on a primary. At that time, I'm like, I have to save up every penny I have because I'm running against Todd Young, who's got $50 million.
Well, you just spent a bunch of money to help get the signatures.
But not just that. We needed to save money and go up against Titanic, fundraiser, Todd Young. So I'm like, I don't want an unnecessary primary with 2 women that couldn't get the signatures.
That's right.
It's not fair.
And not follow the rules.
It's not fair
the rules
for
are the
me.
rules.
I followed the rules and they didn't, right? So I was asked, are you going to challenge? And we're like, of course we are.
Yep.
I'm not going to let 2 people that didn't qualify file against me.
Well, I thought it was really interesting because all this was going around and you were saying that you wanted to challenge. We got a call. We got a call from a friend. And he was insistent that he wanted to help the campaign. It was a lawyer, Scott Yaney. A lot of people know Scott. And I don't care what anybody says. Scott called me, and I called the mayor right away, and we got on a call. And Scott was like, listen, I want to do this for Tom.
Right.
I don't want him to have to do it. I want to do it. And he stepped up and did it.
And
I was
an
technically,
episode.
what's that, John?
That was an episode.
Was it? Okay.
Scott came on and
that's right. That's right.
Yep.
So like, I knew Scott was doing it. I approved of it. I was going to do it if he didn't. So,
I remember you saying
so
that.
we were on the same team.
Yeah.
It's fair to say.
Sure.
He was doing our bidding for us.
But you never paid him a dime.
Nope.
He did all the work. He did all the paperwork. He did the presentation.
He did so much work. It was crazy.
It was crazy.
So we filed a challenge against Dr. McCray. We filed a challenge against Hanifa Khalik. And the Indiana State Election Board heard our challenge and disqualified both of them. Why? They didn't get the signatures that's legally required. So we knock them off the ballot. So we knock them off the ballot legally, the legal way to do it, right? They should have never been allowed to file in the first place. So what is the first thing? I'm not going to talk about Hanifa anymore because Hanifa checked out. I'm going to leave her checked out because she's an innocent victim getting brought into this story. Okay.
Was it this quote?
Dr. McCray basically blames McDermott for blocking 2 African-American women from the ballot. Although, and I think him wanting to be the only candidate on the ballot is just sad, Dr. McCray says. And it's going to have a negative effect on the voters because the voters know they don't have a clear choice.
And
That
she
is
wants
so
breakfast.
ridiculous. And then she comes for a free breakfast.
By the way, she did everything she could at that point to poison the atmosphere in the African American community for me.
Yeah, it made
She
it
was
look like
literally-
you were against the African American community. It was crazy.
She's from Marion County. She's a well-known person in Marion County, and she went to all the churches in the black communities in Marion County and did everything she could to poison the well for me. Even though I did everything I was supposed to do, even though she was totally in the wrong.
Yeah, she didn't follow the rules. And she came up with this like theory that there was like a rogue campaigner that didn't that like lied to her about the number of signatures they had. I'm like, what kind of campaign structure do you have where a rogue campaigner is telling you we have 500 or more signatures in 9 congressional districts? That was just fantastical to me.
Yeah, she blamed a volunteer who she said did not turn in signatures and strategically sabotaged.
Unnamed, by the way.
Right.
I was like, come on.
So Dr. McCray comes up to me the other day at my event in Lake County.
I was shocked to see her.
But like the funny thing is, you know, Dr. McCray, when I was running for U.S. Senate, I was taking a big shot and I needed all the help I can get. Okay. But in Lake County, and I don't talk like this, I'm a big deal up here. People listen to me where I live in Lake County, which is the second most popular voting block in the state of Indiana, Dr. McCray. Okay. You did everything you could to screw me when I needed help. She did everything she could to poison the well. Why? Because I knocked her off the ballot because she didn't legally qualify.
Follow the rules.
Right.
And it's hard enough as a Democrat in Indiana to get elected.
Right.
Statewide.
Right. So now she comes up to me.
Fast forward.
Now she comes up to me at the breakfast I'm hosting, and there's hundreds of people there. Why? Because people respect me, Dr. McCray. Where I live, people know who I am. And now she's like, Mayor, can you help me run for U.S. Senate? Can you donate to me?
No
Can
way.
you help? I swear,
I
John.
couldn't believe this, John.
But she sent a friend of mine, Mike Brown. Mike Brown's a Lake County clerk.
And Mike doesn't know the history.
No. Mike is a good friend of mine. Mike's from Gary. He's was on the Gary Council. He's been an elected official for decades in
Recorder,
Lake County.
coroner.
Mike and I are friends, man. He's known me for a long time, right? So Mike, who's also African American, not that it matters, but he is, and he comes up to me and Mike says, "Hey, Mayor, I want to introduce you to Dr. McCray." And I was like, "Mike, I know Dr. McCray." And he said, "Huh?"
Poor Mike's like probably.
And he's like,
what?
"Huh?" He's like pushing her campaign, and I told him the whole story. He looked like he was going to throw up because he's like, "I'm."
Well, and
sitting
he
here-
knows you.
Yeah,
You
he's
guys
like
are friends.
I know he was so offended when
Yeah.
he heard what she did to me. Like, I think she lost Mike Brown's support too. So, like, hi, Dr. McCray. Hi,
Welcome to Lake County.
former Lake County chairman, 6th-term mayor of the city of Hammond, the guy you called a racist for knocking you off the ballot because you didn't legally qualify. Now you're asking me for money. Hi, Dr. McCray. Don't ever do that again.
And
I'm not
pro
helping her.
Chamberlain.
I am
For
not
Chamberlain for Senate.
I'm voting for Chamberlain. I'm going to do everything I can to help this person. I don't know if it's a man or woman, but I'm voting for this person. Okay, I'm doing everything I can to help this person win. Hi, Dr. McCray. Nice to meet you again. The person
Good
called
seeing
a
you in
racist.
Lake County.
That's the moral of the story: is don't burn bridges. And if you are going to burn a bridge, don't try to cross it again.
Yeah, that was crazy. I was shocked to see her. Couldn't believe it.
Isn't that crazy?
Yep.
She made LOCPOD.
Thank you. Yeah, you're right. You could have. Maybe people are donating to her left and right now.
Yep. Welcome to LOCPOD, Doctor. So anyway, hey, we got a guest coming back. Jodi Krangle.
yeah,
Dude, she
yeah.
worked for Disney.
Yeah, this is pretty cool. Let's do our ads and let's get Jodi on because she's a very interesting lady and all about audio and voice.
Can't
Yeah.
wait. Let's get it up.
She's cool.
We'll be coming back with her. Let's start off with some tortillas Nuevo Leon, which sets the gold standard in Mexican cuisine across the Midwest. Look for their iconic red and white label at your local grocery store. Indulge in the finest Mexican products crafted with local expertise and savor the taste of authenticity. Discover the flavors of tortillas Nuevo Leon today.
Tortillas Nuevo León, hechas con amor, para ti y tu familia de todo corazón. Tortillas Nuevo León, hechas con amor, para ti y tu familia de todo corazón.
Great finish, Lens.
Thank you.
You want to read about Matt Reardon or should I? MCR Partners. Are you seeking expertise in economic development, finance, and planning? Look no further than MCR Partners, your go-to professionals for comprehensive solutions. Their dedicated teams ready to assess your opportunities, ensure the successful completion of your projects. Discover the difference MCR partners can make in navigating the intricacies of economic development. Stay informed and connected by visiting their website at mcrpartnersllc.com. And for more personalized assistance, reach out to Matt Reardon at 219-741-9511.
That's his personal phone number.
Yes,
so if you
so
got beef with him,
If you're English, if you're from Alabama, call
give him
Matt.
a call.
That's
Royal
Send him
family.
a text.
Yeah, if the royal family has a problem with
Yeah,
him,
exactly.
call him.
All right, Byway Brewing, a family-friendly microbrewery, welcomes you to their spacious tap room and outdoor patio. Enjoy award-winning craft beer, a chef-driven menu, and unique craft draft cocktails. Their unique brewing equipment and production facility provide a perfect backdrop for private events, whether it's a bridal shower, reunion, or corporate party. And with their new food truck, they can cater to your corporate and private events off-site. Customer service is a top priority by Byway Brewing, just off 8094 at the Kennedy Avenue South exit. Discover more at bywaybrewing.beer.
Kuklakis Law. Are you currently navigating complex legal challenges? Unsure of where to turn for guidance? Your search ends here with Kuklakis Law, your trusted partner for legal solutions in Indiana and Illinois. Whether you're seeking expert representation for real estate transactions, need assistance in forming your business, or have experienced a personal injury at work or in a car crash, Harris Kuklakis Law is here for you. No matter the nature of your legal issue, their team is ready to help. Call Harris today at 219-671-6347 to schedule your free consultation. Hablamos Español. Thanks to our sponsors, and again from NICA IBW Powering Indiana Lake County Studios. I'm here to introduce Jodi Krangle, who's gone from Disney to beachside resort. She's a voice actress. Jodi Krangle has just about done it all. Satisfied clients include Dell, Kraft, and Lindt. She specializes in brand voice commercials as well as podcast intros and outros. She's here to talk to us about being a voice actor and maybe on just how to make us sound a little bit better on the air. So thank you and welcome, Jodi. Nice talking to you.
Hey there, you're doing great.
The audio already sounds good.
I've been really focusing on my audio, with you on there.
I know, and
That's
it keeps
good.
me tripping up when I'm reading all my ads, and I'm just like, I need to show off. She's here.
So one of the comments in our chat, and I know you're up in Ontario, Canada.
Yeah.
So welcome to the show. One of the people in chat said you have to be a king to afford the tolls on the 402 in Ontario. I hope does that mean something to you?
402, 407, maybe.
Okay, there you go. The tolls must be high up there.
Yeah. Well, when you have a private road, they can charge what they want, right?
See how Canadians are just like, hey, whatever.
So as a matter of fact, I love it.
Yeah, just no complaints.
Hey, Jodi, tell me about voiceover acting. And I mean, you work in Disney, you do commercials. How do you get into this line of work?
Ooh, it's a long and winding road for a lot of people. I've been doing this full time for about 16 years now, a little over that. And I started in 2007, and it was a very different landscape at that time.
Do you do it mostly out of your house? I mean, it
Yeah.
looks like you have your own studio, which looks better than ours, actually.
That's her podcast
Actually,
studio.
the outside is where I do the podcasts. The booth, which is right in there, is where I have all my, high-powered equipment.
No
So we're in your podcast studio now.
Yes,
We're in
yeah,
your
kind
podcast
of.
Well,
studio.
we're in our podcast studio, too, so that's nice.
It's good. Like,
We're all
how she hung up-
podcasting.
I love it.
Yeah.
So,
Tell us about one of your how did you get into it? Like, what was the first thing what was like your kind of first break or the thing you did that you're like, okay, now I'm doing voiceovers and voice work?
Well, I didn't even know what it was until I volunteered my time at the CNIB, which is the Canadian National Institute for the Blind. So for a year, I was reading magazine articles onto reel-to-reel tape at the time. This was like 1995.
Oh, very cool.
wow.
So it was
Ancient
way back.
technology.
Yeah. And I had no idea what voiceovers were. I knew what a radio DJ was, but I really didn't know anything about voiceovers. And so that kind of percolated in the back of my head. I was doing internet marketing and SEO in the early days. I've been on the internet since 95. So, at that time, that was the route that I decided to go. And in 2007, Google was the only game in town. I got really bored. And things happen when I'm bored.
That's
Wow.
awesome.
That's a good motto.
Yeah, right?
You should put
I
things
just
happen when I'm
decided.
bored.
Well, I was already self-employed. I've been self-employed since about 1999.
Nice.
So I just made a focus switch and I decided now was the time to look into voiceovers. And I went online because my world was online. So I was just looking online. I found resources. I ordered things and had them sent to my house. I did training. Coaching was like number one. And then you make a demo, and then you put yourself out there, and you let everyone that you know what you're doing.
Did the pandemic, do you think, help your type of job? I mean, it seems like the pandemic, Jodi, in your line of work would have been. I mean, I'm not going to say the pandemic was a good thing.
Well, it's never.
It didn't hurt at all, right?
Well, no. I mean, I had my best years when the pandemic started because I was already set up at home, right? Not a lot of people had. It depends on where you were. If you were in a big city center and you were used to going into studios on a regular basis, well, that kind of stopped. So all of a sudden you had to have a home studio.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I had one. I've had one since 2013. I mean, I've been working from home since before that, but my booth is since about 2013.
How often do you have to upgrade the equipment?
Not very often at this point.
That's great. John, that's good. We're going to save some money. We're going to just stay with our equipment.
No. I mean, there is something to be said for people who really always like to get the newest gear. And in certain aspects, I'm kind of like that. But when you settle on a microphone that sounds really good for your voice, or you have a good environment and you have a good setup, I mean, there's really nothing that you need to do. If your clients are happy, if it sounds good, it is good.
What's one of the most exciting projects you've done? And could you recite that for us? Voiceover.
Can we hear it?
Like a Disney.
She's like, it's early in the morning. Sing for us. That'd be great.
No. Well, one of the most exciting things that I did was the TV narration for a Property Brothers spinoff called Buying and Selling. And I did I did the first year and a half, and then I think the guys took over their own narration. So
really,
that's pretty cool.
I was no longer needed. Yeah.
That's something I wondered about was, somebody that does a lot of voiceover, voice work. Did you have a background in singing?
I do have a background in singing. Not everyone does. I've been singing since I was 6. My whole family is very musical. So I was raised in that. I played piano by ear for a very long time. I haven't had a piano in a very long time now, so that's kind of down. But yeah, I've been singing all my life, and I still sing. I don't do it for pay generally,
right?
But I've done it on and off for many, many years. It helps. It definitely helps because there is a musicality to a script, and there's a way to speak it that sounds more natural and emotes the emotion that you're supposed to get across. I mean, this is all very communication oriented, right? It is acting. Mm-hmm. It's still acting. Mm-hmm. Even if it's a commercial script, it's me in a situation that I wouldn't naturally be in, but I have to put myself in that situation. And I'm generally in a booth with a microphone in my face talking to a blank wall.
Right.
So, making that sound real and authentic is the acting.
That's great.
What is the, if there's somebody out there that's thinking, everyone says I have a great voice or I sound good or whatever, what would you say to somebody that wants to get into this? What's the best thing they can do?
Well, the first thing is that a good voice is not always the thing that's going to make sure that you have success. So it's all about what you do with it. And then also, even if you don't have a pretty voice, all voices can work in voiceover. There's no real voice type. There might be a voice type for certain types of work, but if you have a wacky voice, maybe cartoons and animation and video games is where you should be. If you
has a wacky voice.
I mean, there's a place for everyone. It just depends on where you want to be and what genres you want to work in.
Yeah,
so
I get told often I have a face for radio. So I don't know if I think that's a compliment.
Maybe that's good to be good. Maybe you're a good voiceover person.
Yeah. Hey, Jodi, it seems to me like a common trend you're hearing lately in commercials and things like that are one of your competitors would be like Matthew McConaughey, actors, like famous actors, their voice, and then they slap them onto a commercial.
Like in the Lincoln commercials?
Yeah, right. Is that like your biggest competitor? Is people that are famous?
Specifically Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah, I don't really consider them to be competitors, and here's why: because they're buying that voice for that particular brand. So Matthew McConaughey has made a life out of being a particular brand. That's why he's famous. That's what he does. And there is acting involved, definitely. He can make it sound effortless, but he's still being himself. So if the car company is making him their spokesperson, they're doing it because they want to rub off his personality on their brand, which is great. But if, God forbid, Matthew McConaughey does something that they don't really like, then that also rubs off on their brand.
True story.
Are you at all worried about, as like, it just seems like technology keeps catching up. Are you at all worried, or people in the voice industry worried, that like computer generated voices will replace human voices, or replace your work?
I think it's always a concern for the brands that don't care about their brand. I hate to say that. Brands that are technical, that are computer oriented, sure, yeah, go for it. That's part of your brand. That's, that makes total sense. If it's not a part of your brand, you are cheapening your brand. And I talk about audio branding all the time. It's a very, very big thing, and it's getting bigger all the time. We are in a era where you are constantly having your attention split and multitasking and doing a whole bunch of other things. So looking at a screen is not always possible, which means that you're hearing the brand all the time. You're not necessarily seeing it. And so if all you're doing is hearing that brand, what do you want to sound like? And does it actually match who you are as a brand and who your clients are that would be using your brand? Is AI the way you want to go for that? Because I'm not sure it's a great use of your sound real estate, let's say. Yeah.
What is your dream job in your line of work? Like, if you, once you got this, you're like, I made it. This is what I've been trying to,
You know what? In 16 years, I have done so many different things that I don't know that it's necessarily a, if I do this, I will have arrived. It's more, I would love to have a brand actually pay attention to their audio brand and hire me for their brand voice.
Could you give me an example? Is it like Matthew? Is it like Lincoln, like Matthew McConaughey, that kind of thing? So that.
Yes and no. I mean, the thing about him in their ads is they also use him visually, which is fantastic. I mean, that you get the double whammy there, right? So I totally get why they're doing it. A brand voice would be the voice that they use for their commercials, their corporate narration inside, internally, their IVR, their phone systems, the way that they announce their CEO to come on a stage, like all of these different things should have a cohesive sound.
That's crazy.
Never thought about that, but that's interesting.
Everything is just like, and you don't even probably realize it. You're just hearing consistent messaging, right?
Yeah.
And
that's interesting.
I take it you do work both in the States and in Canada.
I do work all over the world, but about 95% of my work is in the U.S.
Are you multilingual?
I am not.
There you go.
All English.
I know a lot of very talented Spanish speakers and French speakers, both Canadian French and Parisian French. I can totally refer people if they need that kind of thing.
Right.
So I have a very
Is that
good
a limitation
network.
on you, you think? I mean, if you were like fluent in French or something like that, would it...
I don't find it a limitation necessarily. I mean, it would be nice. Certainly. It would, maybe double what I would be able to do. Right. So yeah, sure. I mean, it would be nice, but I am who I am.
Well, Jodi, before we wrap up, you want to give a plug to your podcast, and please do that, and then we'll wrap it up.
Sure. I have a podcast. It's called Audio Branding. It started in November of 2019, so I have about 220 episodes right now.
Whoa.
Nice.
Yeah, it's been going for 4+ years.
Awesome.
And I talk about the power of sound and how it influences our buying decisions and our daily lives. And I wanted to make sure that people out there understood also from a voice actor's perspective, yes, but also from the experts that I interview who are audio branding specialists. That's not actually something I do, but there are companies out there where that's all they do.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah, and I just wanted people to know from all of us who work in sound that sound is important and it shouldn't be an afterthought. Because, you know,
Super cool.
often as a voice actor, I'm the last person called, right?
Yes. And so one more time on the name of your podcast, I want to make, is it on all platforms?
Yeah, it is. It's called Audio Branding. And the URL, if people want to check it out, if it's okay to mention that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
is,
absolutely. And John will put it in chat too.
Yeah, it's audiobrandingpodcast.com.
Awesome.
All right. Great.
And then I noticed that you're a Aura Ring person. Welcome to the club. I have mine also.
This is
I'm
actually
waiting for
an
mine.
ultra human, but I love
What?
it. Yeah.
Ultra
It's
human.
called
That's
ultra human. Yeah.
Same thing,
Yeah.
though. It's a sleep
Same
tracker.
thing. Yeah.
Super
I
cool.
love them. Yeah.
Welcome to the club. Nice
Thank
to see
you.
you.
Yes.
All right. Jodi, it's been a pleasure to meet you. Thank you very
Likewise.
much. Congratulations on your podcast and your
Thank you.
awesome career. It's cool. We bring a lot of people on our show and just like try to talk to them. And your career is amazing and inspirational. So thank you very much.
Yeah,
for coming
thanks
on
a
our
lot.
show.
Appreciate that. Thanks so
All
much.
right. Again, that's Jodi Krangle, audio specialist and podcaster. So it's great. And I want to say thanks to everybody for listening to LOCPOD. We appreciate you all. That's another one in the books, season 11, episode 21. It's great to see you again, Linz. And see you next week. And Jay Vez, another awesome show. Flawless with the technology. Thank you
Thanks.
very much. Kevin Chandler, good to see you.
Sure.
And I appreciate everybody for listening. We only got 3 or 4 more episodes left in this season, so we're sort of excited about going on our
We're going this way.
spring break.
Focus on my finals.
Good
Uh-oh.
good job, Linz. But yeah, spring break's coming for us also. So what is it? End of next week?
Yeah.
is the last
Coming up.
one.
A couple
So-
weeks. We got 4 episodes left, I think.
So we can go off, restock, and get some more material. So,
Who's counting?
all right, everybody, thanks for listening. LOCPOD season 11, episode 21's in the books. We will see you on Friday with another great show. Thank you, everybody. LOCPOD is out.